Good morning. Happy Hump Day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Good to see you. Good to see you. I see Kiltsy's still going strong over there. Interesting show this morning. Well, at any rate, he's evidently just finishing up, so we will bring it over here and get on with business. And the business, of course, at hand is to drink it if we've got it. My first, I hold out this morning, my first sip of coffee right now, so you can witness the extreme joy and pleasure I get from it. Savor the moment. Hot. Wow. One more. So, Al, how are you, everybody? There are 35 of you here so far. And the Kilts crowd is still over there, so we'll kind of cruise a little until they get here. See, there's a question on the screen over there. Can I ask about leg cramping? I've basically had it most of my life. I take magnesium. Okay. Man, questions on Kiltsy this morning. Maybe because they didn't have a guest. The questions. But the best one that I'm going to comment on, the one that actually made me chuckle, was the one that asked Kilts, what color was his baby aspirin? Because if it's white, that means it's got zinc in it and blah, blah, blah. And I go, where do people come up with this stuff? And if that's important to somebody, and they may have a reason for asking, if that's important, just how obsessed are they with micromanaging every atom of whatever they put in their body and following it through? And who among us can keep track of all that stuff? They ask questions about supplements. Everybody, it seems, simply wants to overcomplicate something that we should be able to do even if we had no conscious mind, because every other animal on the planet does it. So why are we being led down the path of overcomplication everywhere we turn? Everywhere we turn. I saw on the news this morning, or I saw in a YouTube thumbnail, which is where I seem to get most of my news lately, that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, is now reevaluating its stance on the vaccines. That evidence is showing are killing so many people and causing clotting-related diseases, and very well may have caused my stroke as well. Kilt is done. Good show, guys. Good show, guys. They were so quick when I went into the hospital to just all jump on your high LDL caused the stroke, which is probably, if you could come up with 100 possible causes, that would probably be number 100 on the list. And most of the things that might have caused my stroke were most likely something that originated with the advice at one point or another, whether it's dietary, drugs, lifestyle, of the advice of the medical community. And I keep harping on this. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Go with your instincts. Go with your feelings. Go with the clues your body sends you. Minimize your interference in it. Because every time you interfere in it, odds are you're going to make it worse. By throwing drugs, so many supplements. And now we got to worry about what color the coating on our baby aspirin pill is. So, when does it end? Can any of us really keep up with it? You know, it's enough to say, okay, I'm trying to emulate a natural life. Because that's what our ancestors did. It's what the animals do. I'm going to get out in the sun. I'm going to get my bare feet in the grass. I'm going to not watch screens and blue light late at night. I'm going to get up with the sun. I'm going to go to bed with the sunset. I'm going to cold plunge my ass, even though it shocks the hell out of me. And then I'm going to jump in a hot sauna. And then I'm going to go out running naked in the snow. Take the polar bear challenge. I'm going to do all of that. And all of that, actually, you can do without putting poison in your body. Eat right is the most important thing. But how do I know the food I'm eating isn't worse than, how do I know it's not, the meat I'm eating isn't so adulterated that ice cream would be better? We've become obsessed. And when people accuse people in communities like ours of being in cults, I think that maybe they're onto something. So anyway, a little comment on Kelsey this morning. How's everybody? How's everybody this morning? Good to see you. Let me start saying hi to some of the early birds. First one in last night, 5:35 p.m. Lori. Hi, Lori. How you doing? Good morning. And Tuka was here last night. Tuka says, according to recent CDC, 76% of Americans, 76% of the Americans have a chronic disease. I'm surprised it's that low. 1950, the number was 3. Well, if those numbers are correct, and we have no way of knowing if either of those numbers is actually a real number or just the fact that people throw out numbers, and I'm guilty of this, 80% of this, 90% of this, 10%. It's not hard to understand. Obviously, since 1950, we have trashed our health following medical advice and dietary advice. No doubt about that. All you got to do is open your eyes. Take a look at the school playground. You can see that. Look at what's in the stores everywhere you go. Try to go 10 minutes without having sugar in your face somewhere on a billboard or on a TV ad in a store. Lining the front aisles of the supermarket. Lining the checkout counters of the supermarket. Tempting constantly with poison. So not a surprising number, Tuka, not a surprising number. Tuga's 3:30 in Finland. Mandy Meadows. How are you, Mandy? Good to see you this morning. Lady June from England was here, and Rick was here. Patty's, this is way early. Rick was here at 11:30 last night. First one in this morning. Patty's Garden at 3:38 a.m. Good to see you. Mike Seeley, early bird, and Michael Pregler, early bird. Brian Dish, good morning to you. Me Cool Cat, how are you? Looking forward to some ranting full of praise. Thank you, my friend. That is a high compliment. I'll take it. Mike Silly Sr.'s here. Good to see you. Sandy Blythe is here. Somebody new is here this morning. Lucy Work. Hi, Lucy. Welcome. Welcome. I'm new to the channel, but I love it. Thank you. I'm an old carnivore also. Glad I found you. Well, that's great. Great. Welcome. Always like to see new people here and see how long they can stick around before I find some way to offend them and make them slam that mouse down and say, I'm never watching him again. So hopefully I won't offend you, Lucy, and you'll learn that I'm harmless. Lucy says she's in the Pennsylvania mountains. Which mountains, Lucy? Are you in the western mountains of Pennsylvania or the Pocono Mountains? Inquiring minds want to know. I ask you that because as a child, I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm from Philadelphia. And as a young person and right on up through high school, we would go to the Poconos all the time. And I worked at some of the resorts in the Poconos during summer breaks. So, beautiful, beautiful country. Beautiful country. Loretta, good morning. You'll be in flight this morning. Well, we'll miss you and see you Sunday morning. Well, it's tomorrow and Friday. I guess you're going away. Flying out of rainy Baltimore. Huh. Hey, Lambs is here. How you doing? 649. And Chris Swain. Good evening in Australia. Jem. Hiya, Jem. Good morning. Good morning to you. And who else we got here? Brenda McIntyre. Brenda McIntyre checked in. Larry Ryan checked in. Lambs. Oh, Lambs, you just jumped the gun. Just tiny little bit this morning. But the winner this morning, oh my God, what a sandwich we got here. We had Lambs, and then at 7 on the button, we had Don Schonger, followed immediately by Robbie Autry. So Don, somehow today, your timing was so impeccable, so razor sharp, split second, that you managed to get yourself right in between the horse race between Lambs and Robbie. That's great. That's great. Congratulations. And Marla Kelly's here. How you doing? Rick is here, and I have to acknowledge Rick. Brian says, let's get the information started. Ask me some questions. You guys are in questioning moods this morning based on what happened on Kiltz's channel. My God. I was on last night. With Nelson on their new Tuesday night Zoom call for their second tier members of Kiltz's community, which is primarily going to be the new coaching class. Or it's very complicated how he's got it set up over there, but there were about a dozen people in the call, and it was me and Nelson, and didn't get one question from anybody. So Nelson kept asking me questions, and I kept answering. It was great. I had a good time. always enjoy being on with those guys. But they got another call on Thursday for the top tier. That's where they bring the big guns in, the real famous people. So I had a good time. Thank you, Nelson. You were very gracious last night, and somehow I never have a problem filling up time with things to say. Patty, good morning, Patty's Garden. Good to see you. And who is this? How do you pronounce that? Stanoli Yeti. Wow. Good morning. Good morning. Interesting name. Interesting name. Easy B. We got a few new people here this morning. I wonder if it was my Rant Man video from yesterday where I kind of, first time I ever kind of did a commercial, an announcement about the morning live stream. Said, well, maybe I'll reach some new people with this. I said, stop on by. Maybe they like my ranting. And the Rant Man thing, that took me by surprise yesterday. Barry Simon, you'll know Barry. I haven't seen Barry in here yet this morning, but you all know Barry. He sent me an email. And attached to the email was this. Let me see if I can bring it up. Oh, that's not it. Okay, hang on. I got to get it open. I'll let you. Trying to be smooth. This thing.
You won't believe what happened today. It's absolutely outrageous.
God, let me do that again. That's awesome. Hold on. Play that again.
You won't believe what happened today. It's absolutely outrageous.
Now, take a look. Hang on. Take a look at the face. Got the bald head, even though the beard is longer than mine. That's supposed to be me. I was dumbfounded when I saw that. I thought that was the greatest thing I ever saw. And Barry used Grok, which is Elon Musk's artificial intelligence. And Grok is unbelievable. I don't use a lot of AI. I want to be the real Mitch, not the artificially generated Mitch, but it's scary what you can do with these things. And you do it all with prompts. And he took the time to make this for me. And I was flattered as hell about it. And I thought, what a great shtick. I tried the Plant Man. Plant Man didn't seem to have a lot of appeal to people, and it kind of died out after a couple of videos. I keep trying things, and like the old advertising agency adage, you throw it against the wall and see, or run it up the flagpole and see who salutes. Throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. But I think this, considering that ranting is what I seem to do a lot, and so many people find it entertaining. I think more people find it entertaining than off-putting. I think this Rant Man character, without overdoing it, I don't want to overdo it, but I think he may have a place in my repertoire moving forward. So, and Barry bought me some coffees yesterday at the very end of the stream, and I didn't get to thank him for those. So thank you, Barry, for everything, my friend. Everything yesterday, especially this Plant Man, this Rant Man thing. I think it's great. And if you haven't watched my Rant Man video from yesterday, I think you probably enjoy it. Peter's here. Peter says, good morning. Hiya, Peter. How you doing? Good to see you. And let me close a few windows here. Close the wrong window, as usual. Peter's welcoming Lucy and talking to Lucy. That's great. Make Lucy feel welcome. Tuka's here this morning. Hi, Tuka. Good to see you back. Main Runner, Donna Ray, good morning to you. Good morning. How are you? How are you? Mud Bonus here, Larry. Terry P. Burrow Grandma, how you doing? Michael Smith. Bill Cook. Gina Cav is here. Good morning to you. And Cleveland Carnivore is here. And we have a little bit of Florida sunshine this morning, which is something we haven't had a lot of over here the past few days. I hope to get to the post office this morning. Every time I got ready to go, the sky opens up. So maybe I'll get there today. Got a little package coming, a little surprise. I know what it is, but I won't talk about it till I get it and show you. Aaron is here. Good morning to you, Aaron. Kiltsy is in the house. I don't know if he's still here, but he stopped by to say hello. What time? Time 7:07. Nah, he's probably gone by now, but good to see you, Kiltsy. If you're still here, enjoyed your show this morning. A lot of questions. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Had a good time with Nelson last night on your Tuesday evening Zoom call. Karen P. said hi to you already, and Jeff Strzeslak, good morning to you. And everybody saying hi to Kiltsy, my good friend. Robert Kilts, we are certainly crazy, and here will be the greatest carnivore. I pay him to say that. Where do you want me to send the check? Yeah. and thanks for the shout out about my morning live stream. I watched your whole show, except for about a 5-minute period where I had to come in from outside and get it ready inside. I watched your whole show. I was there from the very beginning. I even said hello in the chat, but you were so busy with questions this morning. Wow. Well, you're doctors, so they don't ask me questions like that. Lewis is here. Good morning, Lewis. How you doing? Make today a meat-fueled day, as you should every day. Jerry Voitush, hiya, Jerry, a good friend in Ponte Vedra Beach, and Brian BMAT. Brian, how you doing? Kilsey's still here. He was for a while. Everybody's saying hi to him. He's saying hi to everybody. That's great. Must not have surgery today. Oh, it's Wednesday. Doctors, it was always a joke about it. Don't ever get sick on a Wednesday because the only place you find your doctor is on the golf course. Is it still like that? I don't know if it is or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. Patty Molden checked in. How you doing, Patty? Good to see you. And put some QQQs up there for me. Come up with a subject. Probably find something to talk about. It is Hump Day. It is Wednesday. I have Wednesday, 3 more days for me to do the morning live streams this week. Take a look at the current chat and see what you all are talking about. Talking about ducks, so what's new? And people are still chiming in and saying hello. I guess Wednesday morning for some reason, and I've been noticing the trend. The attendance on these live streams is down a little bit. I noticed it on Kilts this morning. About 10, 15, maybe 20% less than normal. And I seem to be running about the same. I'm coming up towards 100 people though, so it's good to know there are at least 100 of us that have gotten out of bed and can still put up with me. Lucy said hi and thank you. Welcome. Good to see you here. Yeah, Aaron, like the Batman song. In fact, I thought about that. Da, 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 rant, man. I thought about that. That came to mind. What I was thinking about. I need some music. I need a little something. If I'm going to use Rant Man in videos, and it has to be real short. Fanfare or something like that. But I thought about that, but that's probably copyrighted, and I probably get in trouble if I use it. Poconos. Hey, it's great, Lucy. A tough old bird. You won't offend me. Okay. You sound like you fit right in here. I was around. My parents used to go to Grossinger's. I don't know if these places are still there or not. Used to go to Grossinger's, and we were there at Nevele. If it's still around, a place called Nevele, and I worked at both of those places, both as a waiter and in the summertime, and also as a musician. Had a little band and got hired on one summer to entertain all the old people while they ate and complained and sent their food back. It's primarily Jewish clientele. And they had all the old Jewish comedians there. They had Shecky Green and Alan King. All those guys played the Poconos. It was a big deal. It's gorgeous country. And then the summer camps. Every summer camp I went to as a kid was in the Poconos. And I'm being from Philadelphia, it wasn't that far. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place to live. And I'll never forget those memories. So thank you for bringing back those memories for me, Lucy. They keep fading further and further into the past as I get older, but Brian asked her whereabouts. She's in the over north of Philadelphia, so very far from Southwest Pennsylvania. My sister lives in Pittsburgh, though. I'll tell her to wave at you when she goes by. Johnny Joan Flyer, how you doing, Johnny? Good to see you. And that's great. That's great. I always love to see new people. I don't have a subject to talk about yet. Don Chager, you counted the seconds down. Wow. Wow, you're right on the money. And I'm telling you, the three of you guys were probably within a few thousandths of a second of each other in hitting the button. Amazing. Amazing. Greta Brunswick is here. Hi, Greta. I'm here at 6:16, 3:15 in California. Wow, wow, wow. That is dedication. And I'm up to 7:15 in the chat. Everybody's still saying hello to everybody, which is great. Very friendly bunch. Jeff S. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing? Kiltsy's still here. Making it simple is best. Oh. It's a necessity, Kilty. I think that as complicated as it just leaves people going, I don't know what I need to concentrate on. When they start talking to me about what color is the coating on my baby aspirin, is that what I'm supposed to focus on? We're human beings. That's a problem with our whole society today. We suffer from transactional overload. We are becoming like the movie The Matrix. We are bombarded. It's like being bombarded with flashing lights and information and words and sounds, one after another, so fast that we never have time to stop and even consider things. We stopped thinking about things, and we spend our day simply absorbing facts. And all of the videos today and the shorts with all the flashing text and the flashing lights and the fast editing cuts and jumping from one to another before you even had time to realize what you just watched. We are not thinking. We are only absorbing. It's like somebody would stick a fire hose down our mouth and turn it on full blast, and all you wanted was a little sip of water. It's not good for us to consume that much. We became the species we are because we had time to figure things out, to think before the next thing. And every one of us in this society knows what I'm talking about. We have so many problems, so many concerns, that we all run around stressed out to the max and very rarely ever take time to think and consider whether something is real. I don't think it is going to work if we keep worried about what color the coating is on our baby aspirin. Now, don't get me wrong. There may be something we should consider about that. And that's what's crazy. I saw the same thing happen yesterday. It happened a couple of times when Kiss was talking about supplements this morning. He got a lot of comments. You need to read the ingredients on supplements. So many of them are garbage. It's true. Why should we have to worry about those things? We should eat cows. We'd probably be much better off if we didn't worry about anything. We might be deficient in something a little bit, but, we can only look out for so much. Because somebody's got to do your taxes, too. The society has got you on a treadmill. And the government shut down. So many things for us to worry about. So many new potential problems every day that we hear about every time we watch TV. The next crisis, the next disaster. And all we're trying to do is put our feet in the grass, get some morning sun in our eyes, relax, pay our bills, maybe stop trying to keep up with the Joneses, the lessons that I never learned until very late in life. Society puts pressures on us and has the way, psychologically, the knowledge to both push all of our buttons, make us want to own and buy everything. And the worst of it is addict us to cheap-to-make foods containing exactly the right amount of sugar, salt, and seed oils so that we cannot resist them, and create new patients that they can be funneled into the healthcare system, which will ruin whatever you got left of your life if you let them. That's the world we live in. It can't continue like this. It's killing the human race now, creating psychopaths at enormous rates. The crazy people are taking over. We're at a point right now where the crazy people are attacking the federal government. They're attacking them. They're waging war on our military. I know this is politics, but it's a sign of mental illness at the highest order. The inability to reason and think rationally anymore. Where's Rant Man where I need him? And when I can see signs of that, this is the point I'm making. When I can see signs of this deterioration and craziness that's descending on all of us from every angle, and what it's doing to us, making us uber nervous about everything. When I can see signs of that in a question about baby aspirin, I say, wow, I think this is going a little too far now. So I'll say it again. Stop worrying about all the tests, all the blood tests. Stop trying to conform to what somebody else says. Well, this is normal. This is a normal weight, and you're not. This is normal cholesterol level, and yours not. You need to take this drug and that drug. You need to go to this lab. You need to see this doctor. Fight back about that. Maybe you might have something that needs attention, but the likelihood, far greater likelihood of you doing more harm to yourself than if you had done nothing, is there. I'm working on a video right now about once you get to age 70, just stop getting certain blood tests, because statistically, the risk-reward ratio is way upside down. And I talked a little bit about the colonoscopies yesterday. And when you get to be over 70, any benefit you might get from detecting the early stages of cancer is far outweighed by the risk of something that'll kill you, either surgically or from the anesthesia in a colonoscopy. 10 times the risk of dying from the colonoscopy itself, from the cancer that it might have discovered. There are some times when the odds are against you and it pays to roll the dice, maybe. You have a better chance of winning. Well, our whole society is doing that now, and it's crazy. And social media isn't helping. And you know what really isn't helping? Artificial intelligence. The greatest propaganda generator that has ever lived. And where does artificial intelligence learn? What is it taught with? It's taught with databases from Google, the greatest mass of misinformation and propaganda ever lived. Just ask Google, what's the healthiest diet, and see if you see the word meat anywhere in there. So that we are being taken over, even if there aren't big machines marching up and down in our streets with machine guns. We're being taken over by machines, completely taken over by machines right now that communicate with us through our computer screens and our cell phones. And it's the same people that set the rules for food companies and the way their scientists work, for the medical community, and how ridiculously bad that has become and harmful. These people are also pulling the strings with all the development of this AI. And then they come out and look at you and say, nothing to worry about, folks. Trust us. We wouldn't dare use this horrendous power for anything but the best of intentions. Trust us. Trust us. Those are the two scariest words in the English language. Trust me. Trust me. All right, Kelsey had to go. He hung in there with us till 7:17. I guess that was right around the time I may have acknowledged him, so hopefully he heard me acknowledge him. It's great to see you. Great to see you here today. Great to see you, my friend. So I'm looking for questions. I don't see any yet. You can use, it doesn't have to be a question. It doesn't. It can be a comment. It can be something you want to steer the conversation towards. I'm not the guy many people ask. They want to ask medical questions, and I'm not a doctor. Did a lot of you watch Kilts this morning? Yesterday in my little rant, I kind of made a joke about the validity of all these and how I feel about all these studies and tests, trials. And I said in my little skit that I do about asking your doctor to steer you towards how he knows for sure, and eventually your doctor will finally say to you these magic words. Well, nobody really knows for certain, or nobody really knows for sure. That's the most conviction I've ever heard from the medical community when I ask them to back up their advice and recommendations. They fall back on pat cliches. Well, tests prove. And you're supposed to accept that. I remember a commercial on TV for Alpo dog food. Tests show that dogs like Alpo 3-1 over the best-selling leading brand. Dentists recommend sugarless gum for their patients who chew gum. Listen to the words they use. It's all absurd. And if you tried to quiz them on it, they can't. They're lost because all they know are talking points. They don't know anything but talking points. Settled science. It's settled science. How dare you? Well, you're a climate denier. Talking points, tactics, propaganda tactics. I saw it. Even Kiltz and Nelson today, if you listened deeply to what they said, to every question, the answer was, because the questions were looking for actionable, definitive advice. Number one, legally, ethically, and criminally, neither Nelson nor Kiltz can give you any advice like that on a morning live stream. And Kiltz pointed out these shows are for entertainment. And as a doctor, I would think that puts a lot more risk on their lives of lawsuits, of overzealous prosecutors, licensing boards, than it does to a guy like me who's got nothing to take away. Nobody's going to sue me because why? Old lawyer expression, in case you've never heard it. Where there's no food, there's no sharks. Very simple. So I'm not worried about getting sued. I have no license to lose. This is entertainment. Now, the sad fact is, in reality, we're given better advice than all of the doctors and licensed people are, and we're helping people instead of hurting them. But that doesn't count in this world. Somehow it doesn't count. It counts to us, but it doesn't count. But Kiltz actually said, this is entertainment. Okay, that's a disclaimer. He read the disclaimer on his supplements, which has to be there, because it's not approved by the FDA. But then again, some of the greatest poisons ever perpetrated on the human race were approved by the FDA. Any of you old enough to remember thalidomide? Vioxx? FDA, in so many instances, is just as corrupt as the USDA, the ADA, MA, all the other synonyms and acronyms. And yet they put it out there as some kind of authority of goodness and truth. And it's not. It's bullshit. Do any of our institutions, or any of them, something we can rely on? Or are they going to be weaponized against us like they usually are, depending on who's in power? So I hear all this stuff. And as I get older every day and listen to more and more of it, I keep hearing the same things. Where the hell is the truth? First of all, like Nelson said, or Kilt said, nobody knows what's going to kill them. Something is eventually. Even if you just run out of gas and just kind of fade away. that last atom or molecule of ATP is generated by that last mitochondria in that last cell of yours. And you're now dead. We don't know. We don't know anything, and we know a lot. But compared to what we don't know, we're just scratching the surface. We lived for hundreds, or the human race, the human genus, is about 3 million years from the first of the homos, what we call them, until Homo sapien today. And we lived those 3 million years on our instincts. Oh, we finally got smart fairly recently in those 3 million years and started to learn how to make tools and use fire and things like that. But basically, we were still animals, and most of the stuff that drove us was instinctual. We ate when we were hungry, stopped eating when we were full. We seek shelter when we got cold. Our prime urges and our prime driving forces were two things: to survive, number one, most important, and to reproduce. And we still today are driven by those two instincts. No matter how smart we get, the smartest man can do the dumbest things in pursuit of, and in my book I call it that urge to merge. And I always hold Bill Clinton out there as an example. The second thing, that's the second strongest instinct. And if you ever want to know what motivates people, just look at TV ads. Meet somebody who's in the marketing or advertising business. And in marketing and advertising, if you go to college and you want to get yourself a PhD in marketing, you'll have tons of textbooks and studies and everything that tell you what it takes to motivate people, which is psychology is what it is. And I studied that. So they teach you in advertising school that there are two easiest things to appeal to when you want to sell somebody something are the most basic human drives: survival and sex. And I mean, it's become kind of a cliche in the advertising business. Sex sells. When you see a Diet Pepsi commercial on TV, what do you see? Hot-looking young people on a beach in a skimpy bikini. Everything is sex. They put hot-looking models, both men and women, in front of everything. They want to sell you clothes. They don't put some 450-pound beer-drinking football fan in the ad. It's hot-looking, attractive young people. Sex. Sex is responsible for half the activity on the internet in the form of pornography. Dating sites use that particular drive in human beings to rip people off. the basis of the world's oldest profession. Nobody can deny that the human race is not motivated by the urge to reproduce and won't do the dumbest things. That's the second greatest driving. The first is survival. And there's an industry that exists right now that is so huge. And survival plays on fear. Probably the strongest motivating emotion, fear of protecting yourself against bad things happening to you. And one of the largest industries in our country is built on fear. Let me ask you a question. When you buy an insurance policy from that salesman in your living room, what are you buying? How is he describing it to you? He's not selling you insurance, is he? He's selling you protection. Protection. What a word that is. He's selling you security. He's selling you survival for your family. You don't even stop to think about the fact that if you ever need this product that he's trying to sell you for all this money, you won't even be here. You'll be gone, but you're going to be protecting your family and their future. And that, my friends, is the strongest hook to sell somebody anything, is sell them protection. This car, rated #1 in the crash tests, and will protect your family. Simply Safe alarm system will protect your home and family against fire and theft. We're being sold every day. We're being used. And I started this little rant because of artificial intelligence, and I'm telling you what, these are things that people don't notice because it's just done to us, and it's so much and so often it becomes normal for us. And we don't think about insurance. We think about survival. It's all about the basic human, not even human, living things. Your cats and dogs have the same instincts. And that's how we all got to this point in this world at this date and time. Not by worrying about the color of the coating on our friggin' baby aspirin, but by following our base instincts. And I keep working for my own life, in my own life, to take my own advice and stop paying attention to the noise and return. And that's what you hear that I think is the most worthwhile message from anybody trying to help you regain your health. Get back to what, and who knows what a normal weight is. Because a normal weight is not the weight that the supermodel on TV makes you believe you need to be. That's not basically necessarily a healthy weight, nor is that over muscle bound bodybuilder the epitome of health for a male. But body like that might get you laid. And why is that so important to us? Because it's one of the two basic drives of all living things. Survive and get laid. And if you want to have a mental exercise someday and you really want to see what they're doing to us, see how subtle this stuff is, how many focus groups have been through. You really want to find out just how you're being screwed, coming, going, and even while you're there, start analyzing the language that they use. in all of these commercials and advertisements and political speeches. They got it down to a science, and they're perfecting that science, and we, the herd, are getting more and more in line with them every day. And we're paying for the privilege. I'm a maverick. I fight. I'm a nonconformist. I always have been. But, it's a lonely place to be outside the herd. Oh, I got so far behind now. I'm a half an hour behind now. Rockin' Coach Amy, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. So she says, Rick says Grossinger's is in. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think the world could support that kind of a establishment anymore. But boy, in its heyday, well, most of the things from when I was a kid, most of the businesses there's no need for them anymore. But the stories are there, and that's evolution also. Maybe not biological evolution, but everything evolves. Everything evolves. Fashion evolves. Car design evolves. Computer operating systems evolve. Everything is generally built on what came before it and modified in some way. Thrown out into the world, and the best one wins. That, my friends, is survival of the fittest. You see it in Windows, in any operating system, for any computer. You see remnants of the old original code that was in DOS. It's still in there. Just like the old original biochemistry of the first living cells still exists in every cell in our body. It's just been modified, built on, improved by being thrown out into the world and seeing if that particular change that happened survived. That is what evolution is. And it's everywhere. And you can see the evolution of it. When I was building houses, I even noticed there was evolution in home design. When we see things in evolution, sometimes we label them a trend. Well, what does the word trend mean? A trend means something new that is becoming accepted. Accepted. Well, in house design, the trend was for higher ceilings, bigger master bedrooms, elaborate kitchens, things that houses never used to have in the 50s. You had a little kitchen, had a little living room. Now you had to have a palace. Well, the architects were throwing ideas out there. They kept designing different kinds of houses, but the true test was, what are the people going to buy? What are they buying? And the ones that the people bought or liked and that appealed to them won the evolutionary battle of home design at that particular point for that particular market in that particular place, but not necessarily the be-all, end-all end of home design. That's the way evolution is. We have not stopped evolving as human species. We are suited right now as close as we can be to the environment that we live in, to the food supply, to the weather. But something comes along and rocks the boat, like the dinosaur asteroid did 66 million years ago. None of us are suited. We're not the fittest anymore just because we might be the prettiest. We won't survive a 1 year long famine. You know who's going to survive the 1 year long famine? Those few people that are so fat right now and so unhealthy, but at least won't starve to death. They will become the new path of evolution for the human species. Kind of like what you saw in that movie Wall-E. evolution is dynamic. It never stops. There is no normal. There is only how easily we can get by in our current environment. And the thing that scares me the most of anything in this world, and it's a combination of politics and stupidity, the thing that bothers me the most is that the things everybody's doing these days could change our basic environment overnight because of stupidity. Shutting the government down is just one tiny little thing. It's all being done because of politics and the agendas of power-hungry and greedy people. So there are people that we need to go after. We want to have some hope of a future, but I'm glad I'm pushing 80 and not pushing 20 right now. Peter says, Miko Catches asked you a question about fermented vegetables. Mitch, what's your take on fermented veggies such as garlic pickle, green chili pickle, berry pickle, fermented in cold pressed mustard oil? What is the downsides of this? Wow. I am so totally unqualified to answer that question, but it's a question nonetheless, and I appreciate it. The way I've never really liked fermented anything. I don't like fermented dairy. Fermenting is a good thing if you're going to have to eat vegetables for some reason. If you got a reason why you can't live without plants, can't live without all these sauerkraut and kimchi and yogurt and everything else, then what you do is you do what the cows do. Because what we need to live are fatty acids and amino acids. That's what we need. The vegetables need them too, but not the way we do, and it's not the same. So you team up with the little critters, or trillions of the little critters, and you make a deal. Tell you what, you like to eat these things, and in return, your waste products are what we need. It's kind of like a recycling plant. So we make a deal with the bacteria. We call it the biome. Biome is a big word. But we'll make a deal. Just like the deal you make with any transaction. You do this for me, I give you money. Something for something. Quid pro quo. And the deal we make with them is, listen, we're going to eat all this stuff, and once it gets down there to the large intestine, or the hindgut that we used to have and don't have anymore, have at it, guys. Have at it, guys. Have a feast. We'll keep it coming. You'll never be hungry. And you're going to fart out all this stuff, the free fatty acids that we're going to take, and we're going to use them to build our bodies. And it's a symbiotic relationship. And since human beings are, a great percentage of our body mass is these symbiotic bacteria all over us, in us, out, around us, around everything around us, it works, so it's moved forward. In a cow who lives on just grass, they can't live without it. With humans that are carnivorous animals, which they didn't do on purpose, it was just the results of how the conditions changed over all those years, and who migrated where, and who survived and who didn't. Well, here we are. We became carnivorous animals. We lost our hindgut. But we still have what we call microbiome in our large intestine, in our colon, and it ferments these things. Then we learned, well, We can ferment these things outside of our body. We don't need, we could take these same critters and have them ferment this stuff before we put it in our body. And we started baking bread. We used yeast, and the yeast ate the sugar and turned it into gas, and the gas made bubbles, and the bubbles blew up the bread. And then we baked it, and voila. The texture of bread became very, very important. So fermenting vegetables is basically just a way to take the sugar and reduce the amount of sugar that actually enters our body as sugar. Other than that, I can't see any benefit to it unless it happens to come up with a food that you find very pleasurable, which people do, including me, and I love big, cold, kosher dill pickles. I'd rather eat one of them than a cucumber. But otherwise, I've never really liked fermented foods. Do you need fermented foods? Are they beneficial to you? Well, those vegetarians will of course say so, because you're eating plants. But are they really beneficial to you? Can you live without them? Well, I proved that to myself after 3 years with no plants, and in the best health of my life, really, even at my advanced age. No pain, feeling good, plenty of energy, pesky little stroke, which I think was caused by something other than what I did wrong, looking back at my medical history, but and head surgery, but that's another story. And again, like everything else, we'll never know for sure. Nobody can know anything in the medical community for sure. That's always where any interrogation gets to. Well, you don't know for sure. So the fermented stuff probably won't hurt you. I don't think it's going to help you in any way, shape, or form, because you don't need that microbiome to ferment all this crap, because you're not eating all this crap. That's the simplicity of it, and that's my answer to that. But I don't say it's going to hurt you either. It's just a different thing, but and you can still be a carnivore. The definition of that is, and who makes these definitions again? They're all arbitrary too. 70% of your food from animal products. If you got to eat plants, you got to cook them properly. Cook them to mush, which I don't think is a good idea, or ferment them. Or you're going to be just eating sugar. And if you're just eating the plants raw, you're eating sugar, and that's another decision you have to make. Do I really want to eat that many carbohydrates? CB is here. Hi, CB. How you doing? I've been watching, but took a lot of meds last night due to my eyes screwed up again. Oh, man. Come on, CB. Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. Greta Brunswick is here. She makes naturally fermented sourdough regularly for friends and family. Yeah, the art of making bread requires fermentation. It requires little buggers, yeast, yogurt, active bacteria, On one hand, we seek out all these little germs. We seek them out. We throw them in our food. We put them. We take them. We take pills, probiotics, and we swallow them. And we're so happy to have all these little buggers. And then we spray Lysol all over them and kill them. Kill them. They're gonna kill you. They're gonna make you say, "Which is it? Which is it? Are they killing us, or are they good for our health?" You are so brainwashed, so predictable, so controllable. These are the good bacteria. These are the bad bacteria. Trust us. Trust us. Do we ever even look at how silly we are? Sometimes blindly following these conventions that are laid out in front of us, the narrative from the people that are killing us and laughing all the way to the bank because they're sociopaths. And in case you don't know what a sociopath is, it means without conscience or concern for anything but themselves. We all know people like that. That's reality. And it's not complicated. You see it everywhere. If you just look, you see it everywhere. What time is it? 8:10. Okay. All right. Wow. An hour's gone. I didn't even have to bring out, I introduced Rant Man to you, and he showed his personality a few times. But I think that's not something I need to do away with. There are people that have commented and complained to me, Mitch, you need to be happy like Kelsey. You need to be 100% positive. Sunshine and light. I can't be. It's not who I am. I'm sorry. I'm a stone cold realist. I'm Paul Revere. I'm the guy that rides on the horse shouting danger. The world needs both of those people. And I think Kiltz and I make a great combination because we've got both of that covered. But I'll never be like that. And I don't want Kiltz to be like me. I don't want to come in here every morning and just be this positive motivation. That's important too. But sometimes recognizing what they're doing to you behind your back is important as well. You need both. You need both. And I don't think I'm misleading anybody or saying anything that really isn't the truth and observable. Peter Tuca, I haven't seen the first QQQ yet other than Me Cool Cat. K. Renard says, trust me, is as scary as I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Yes, that is the fourth greatest lie in the world. Fourth greatest lie in the world. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Most of us know the three great lies right now. First is, the check is in the mail. Second one is, I love you. The third one is a little risque, so I'll let that one go. But you know what it is. And then somebody came up with the government thing because we just needed one more. Jem says she misses Kiltz because it's 3 a.m. Yeah. We're having a good time. We got 100 people, same people usually that hang in there. And my friends, maybe I'm just an acquired taste, that's all. Rick says, once people start charging for coaching, they will get sued. Well, you might not be wrong, Rick. But let me ask you a question. And think about the statement that I made. Think about the statement that I made when I said about lawyers. Where there's no food, there's no sharks. So how many of these people that are going to become carnivore coaches and charge $25 an hour, $50 an hour for their time and try to help people are going to want to spend $100,000 on lawyers to sue somebody that doesn't have any money? And a good indication of the fact that they're not rich enough to sue, rich enough to attract a lawyer, especially a lawyer that'll work on contingency. That's all the lawyer cares about. How deep are the pockets of these people you want me to sue? I don't give a shit about what happened to you. I don't give a shit about the fact that you're in a wheelchair. You want me to represent you for nothing? Put up all the front money? Pay all the court costs? For the hope that I might win some because you're pathetic enough and right enough that I can make money? I care about one thing, honey. I care about how deep are the pockets of this insurance company, drug company, or whatever, and how much and far are they willing to go and spend to make sure we don't win. That's a business decision. That's, again, reality. That's the guy that comes on the morning TV and says to you, I'm for the people. He's a criminal. It's a fraud. He's using you. You are grist for his mill. He is holding out a lottery win in front of you, when in reality, you just become a tiny little, quick nuisance settlement of a few $1,000 for the insurance company. And you get 1,000 or two, and he gets 1,000. For you, you were hoping your life would change and all your problems would be solved. For him, it was only $1,000, but he's just done that 5,000 times this week. 5,000 times 1,000 is a shitload of money. That's how the world works. That's the reality. That's what most people don't think about. That's what I think about. And I'm not wrong, because I know these guys. I know them all. I used to do their, when I was in the computer business, so many of them were my customers. I know exactly what motivates them. I know how their computers are programmed. I know how car dealers rape you whenever you buy a car from them, because I programmed their computers to do the raping. Yes, sir. And my mouse quit again. Wow, why did my mouse quit again? Let me fix it real quick. I'm having a good time this morning. I have nowhere to go. I want to go to the post office. I do want to go to the post office and pick up that package. I hope it's not going to be pouring rain. It looks like we might get a little break from it, and it's still early. And I'm going to try to do it all today with no walkers, no canes, no nothing. I want to drive to the post office, walk from the parking lot into the post office unaided. I think I can do it. Baby steps, I guess. And we're talking about coaching. I'm not going to take a side. I don't want to be the guy who tries to talk people in it or out of it. I think overall, there can only be a benefit from having more people talking about it. And I think it's probably a good thing that if most of those people are working on some accepted guidelines, at least, so that the message that's getting out there at least stays somewhat consistent. Rick says sex sells, but not to Rick. Well, that's Rick's problem. You don't know what you're missing, buddy. But everybody has their own thing. I'm going to skip over all this. Yeah, there's a fermented veggies question, and 801, well, not too far behind. Harry Dion, good morning, Mitch. Just got up. I've seen Barry Simon here this morning, and I'll be watching the replay and see where I've acknowledged his contribution with Rant Man. I don't see a lot of questions. Maybe I don't leave enough time. Jojo says, me and Kilt's the tag team. Yeah, I kind of like that. I always say this, but I mean it. It's nice to see that so many friends are being made in this community. And it's not me or anybody else because you guys are all over the place. But just people have made friends they'd have never made before. And that can't be a bad thing. Rick, you've never been sued, have you? The vegans may pay the lawyers to sue the carnivore coaches to shut them up. Oh, yes, Barry. Version 2 in the email. Oh, Barry. Fabulous. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. That is, you got that grok down pat. That grok is amazing, isn't it? I don't want to play with it. I'm afraid I get hooked on it. And then my entire YouTube channel will be a cartoon with an animated Mitch ranting. I don't want to do that. I want to be at the real Mitch. But Rick says, nobody who has ever spent any amount of time dealing with lawyers, paying lawyers, and defending lawsuits and being in a courtroom would think that anybody would want to spend a dime or go through the grief of trying to shut down a community of average people who are carnivore coaches. It can't happen. It can't. It's impossible in this legal system we have. It's impossible. There's not enough money. It would take 20 years to work its way through the courts. Nobody remember why the lawsuit was brought in the first place. Everybody says, I'll sue you. What do you think? Somebody's coming to your house to save you? It doesn't work that way. Nobody gives a shit. All of these frivolous lawsuits, they never go anywhere. The courts are so overcrowded. There's so many different stalling tactics, ways to just break your opponent in court. I've been there. I will not go to court for any reason with anybody. I don't care. I won't sue a doctor or a hospital. I will not get involved in that. I would have to dedicate the rest of my life of frustration and poverty to afford to try to get even with somebody because they did me wrong. It's not going to happen, Rick. But people who have never had the experiences with lawyers in courts, and I lost a $20 million lawsuit to the Hewlett-Packard Company, a company that stole my entire life and livelihood away from me because I was their partner in the computer business. That took 4 years in courts for me to lose, and God knows how much money, because they were bigger than me and more corrupt than me, and they owned all the judges. That's a sad fact. That's what you got. So this company came, a partner whose product I had sold for years into school systems in Florida, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of computers. I was a Compaq partner. Hewlett-Packard came along, bought Compaq computers. I was now a Hewlett-Packard partner. Couldn't help it, couldn't stop it, had no control over it. Hewlett-Packard came and said, well, Mitch, you did a great job for Compaq. You were their biggest reseller in the northern half of the state of Florida. You made a lot of money, and good for you, but I'm sorry to tell you, we don't need you anymore. All of your customers that you brought and turned over to Compaq Computer, we are now turning over to our internal in-house sales team. Nothing personal, it's just business. but, and this was Carly Fiorina who did this. But my company went to nothing in 6 months. I went flat broke. Ruined my life. I found a lawyer that even took he thought my case was so good against the Hewlett-Packard Company, he took it on a contingency. All I had to pay was the costs. You know, postage, copy machines, stenographers. To show you how big a case this was, my costs in the first year of that case, just for the incidentals, were $65,000. And if I had had to pay the hourly rate of the lawyers, it would have been millions. And the lawyer that took my case was no small fry. My lawyer was Al Gore's lawyer in the year 2000 in Palm Beach, Florida. A big-time ass lawyer, law firm. Well known. I'm not going to mention names. But that was my lawyer. He took my case on a contingency. 4 years later, we lost. We lost at the 11th Circuit in Atlanta. The only further appeal I had was to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court would not have taken this case. So my lawyers, after 4 years and having invested millions of dollars of time in this case, and me having invested $100 or $2,000, said, got bad news for you, Mitch. We have no place else to go with this. Sorry. That's life. How could this happen? I said, well, they came out and said, well, we really can't say that for sure, but they own the judges. We're talking about Hewlett-Packard. We're talking about a Dow 30 company. We're talking about enough money. And the reason they could not allow you to win was it would set a precedent, and 1,000 other dealers that they did the same thing to would then file a lawsuit against them. And they, with the precedent, they'd probably lose that. It would put Hewlett-Packard out of business. So it was either me, my little pissant company, which compared to Hewlett-Packard was nothing, or a Hewlett-Packard company. Who do you think was going to fight harder to save their business? Well, my business was gone. And that's life. That's the way it works. Nothing stays the same. Don't ever think you got it made. Don't ever think, finally there. Doesn't work that way. So, Rick, all this from a person who's been there with the lawsuits to tell you that it will never happen. No carnivore coach need worry about the veggies coming after him. It will not happen to you individually. Period. Just the economics aren't there. Interesting. It was an interesting story, I hope. And a lesson. And sometimes the world doesn't work the way we think is just and fair. In fact, it very rarely does. You guys are still talking about that? Barry Simon? Version 2 in the mail. I'll look for it. Anybody buy me a coffee today? I didn't ask. And yes, Barry Simon bought me a coffee. Hey, Barry, Rant Man version 2 in the mail. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Barry. I appreciate the effort. That's a lot of work doing that stuff. You got to keep fine-tuning it. So, Mitch, you owe about... No. I sued them for $20 million. I sued them. They didn't sue me. I sued them. If I had won the case, they would have had to pay me $20 million or whatever we negotiated. But I lost the case. I got nothing. I don't know them a dime. I don't know anybody a dime. That's not how it works. I was the plaintiff. They were the defendant. They wronged me. I told them, you guys cost me my life, my retirement, my business, and everything else. And we put an arbitrary value, about $20 million on it. That's another thing you have to do when you win a lawsuit like that. You can't just say you owe me $20 million. You got to prove damages. And that's a whole other lawsuit that could take years. And every time you do something, they get to appeal it. So every time you come up with any question, it's got to go before 6 different judges, because you go with the local judge, and then you go with the federal judge, and then you go with the appeals court, and then you go with the federal appeals court, and you got to wait 6 months between each one. Every step of the way takes a year, it took 6 months. It's not set up for, it's set up so that deals can be made, settlements can be made. Everybody can settle everything for nuisance value. All the lawyers and all the people can make a fortune because they settle 1,000 of these things a day, and they keep running those ads on TV looking for fresh bait that had a car accident that they can use. And every once in a while they do find somebody so harmed, so pathetic, such a slam dunk, where the insurance company actually says, okay, we know if you take this to court, and we go at it for 5 years, it's going to cost us X amount of dollars. We'll give you $1 million for this. And the lawyer always takes it. Those cases never get to court. It is an extortion game. It's all extortion, all gambling. So you guys are busy talking about the coaches. I don't want to get into that too heavily. I see Ellen is here. How you doing, Ellen? How are you? Hi, Ellen. Peter says, I believe me too. Ellen says, so close. You guys are helping on. I don't know what you're talking about there, but it's time for me to go. It's 8:30. And I did. Got to the bottom of the chat. Peter's the last one. Ellen, be careful. My moderator finger is on. My moderators are having a civil war, everybody. Just in jest. Listen, I didn't give you much carnivore advice today, but maybe told you a little bit about how the world works in some things that most people never ever get to experience. And I wish I hadn't myself, to tell you the truth. But I chose that path. So you pay the price for it. So, a little happy music to end this with. Say goodbye to your friends. I'll try to get to the post office. I don't know what the weather is, but hopefully it won't pour. I'll be okay as long as it's pouring rain. And see about that. Anthony says, good show, explain so deep. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Bill Cook says goodbye. And Ellen loves Peter, and that's great. That's great. Everybody, we're all great friends here. Lucy, thanks for coming. Nice to meet you. We'll see you again, I hope. Didn't scare you away today. Name Runner says goodbye. Thomas is here. How do you pay to get in, Rick? I hope not with Quacker. 10,000 unemployed comedians in this country right now, Thomas. Lady June says bye. CB Carmack is waving and emojis, and Rick says Russ made it happen, and Pro Grandma says bye all. Lori Weitzel, thank you, Mitch. Gina Cav says bye Ellen. Have a great day, everyone. Hi, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. And the music's coming to an end. Anybody else? I will say bye all in the chat. There it is. And with that, I'm going to go have a great day. And I hope that all of you both enjoyed this little show, because I enjoy it. Thanks for coming, spending the morning with me. Drink a little more coffee if you like. And most importantly, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.